experienced, hard-working, and lovable Ronald Hira.
This is a nation of many races, different faces in many spaces.
For the electoral district of Cunupia, we're getting it done with the passionate and dedicated Nadira Abdullah Mohammed.
And the change has begun. Yes, we're moving. Yes, we move.
Monroe Road, Caroni Savannah. The red team is rolling in with the dynamic and enthusiastic Kevin Phillip.
We choosing, we getting it done. Society we shaking, because what's our way the welling is up.
For the electoral district of Charlieville, PNM doing it again with the talented, getting the job man, showing Lucas.
We choosing, red is how we rolling. PNM we voting, we doing it right.
Felicity Endeavor, PNM doing it right and getting it done with the well-rounded experience, Shodan Mahabir.
There is no load we cannot bear.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winning team for the People's National Movement for the borough of Chaguanas.
Bright blue skies. Tomorrow has come. And the change has begun. Yes, we're moving. Yes,
thank you very much, Mr. Ratan Singh. Thank you, Team Chaguanas. And we go down into the deep south, ladies and gentlemen, to present to you your candidates for Point Fortin. His Worship, the Mayor of Point Fortin, Mr. Abdan Mason.
PNM family! We are here to confess that in Point Fortin we have always gotten it done. And this year we will be getting it done. We have gotten it done in the cultural arena with people like Super Blue, Iowa George, Fair and Lions, Crow. Ladies and gentlemen, we have gotten it done on the sporting field. Leroy DeLeon, Jeremy Richards, Marshall Sideno. We have gotten it done with Atlantic LNG. We have gotten it done by giving Trinidad and Tobago high quality, high standard. And let me confess, we will be getting it done. And to continue getting it done, ladies and gentlemen, help me bring on the standard bearers for the Point Fortin Borough Corporation. For the electoral district of Egypt, we will be getting it done with the People's Councillor, Mr. Kwesi Thomas.
Yes, we moving. Yes, we moving. Here we come.
In Newlands, Mahaika, we will be getting it done with our sporting ambassador, Mr. Reynolds Carrington.
A new country we building, this country first we choosing, and every day we proving.
In Hollywood, we will be getting it done with our resident pilot, our deputy mayor, Councillor Kennedy Richards.
Right, we getting it done. One good for country, good for party.
And New Village, ladies and gentlemen, we will be getting it done with our cricketer, Calypsonian, the all-rounder, Mr. Leslie Meto Pascal.
Different faces in many spaces, so when you're voting, know that you're...
In Captiville, Fanny Village, we will be presenting the princess of the park, Miss Brianna Fortune John.
Yes, we moving. Yes, we moving. Here we come. Hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, for Tisha Wabo, the new kid on the block, Mr. Lyndon Harris.
We shaking because what's our way the welling is up and up we go.
We will be getting it done. Let's hear it for our champion flag bearers for the PNM and Point Fortin and the borough of Point Fortin.
We doing it right. We getting it done. We getting it done in the fires of hope and prayer. Together as one.
Thank you very much, Abdan Mason. Thank you. this. This year, we're getting it done. Peter, 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 C. Lewis.
Yeah. Yeah. This one is for the nation, for the children.
Who are we here today? Are we from the PNM?
We getting it
Well,
done.
if we're from the PNM, get up, stand up off your chair right now. I want to see your voting finger. And everybody sing with me.
Load we cannot
Say,
bear.
listen. Say,
And
great
I
is
see
the
the
PNM.
light at the end of the rainbow. And I see the bright blue sky.
Mr. DJ, can you please stop?
Tomorrow has come, and the change has begun.
Hold on, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, we're moving. Yes, we're moving. Here
Is
we
the DJ
come.
playing that then? Yeah, that's like
Getting
it.
it done. Well, let me tell you
DJ.
something. Forward is how we moving, so never stop believing. We getting it done. A new country we building. This country first we choosing.
Make some noise in the train on. Come on, make some noise.
They only mama guy and we don't know there was teeth in. They cannot tell we nothing.
Wow.
Red is how we rolling. It's PNM we voting. We doing it right. We doing it right. We getting it done. One good for country, good for party. Team Rowley, we building legacy.
Come on, give them a
so
round
when
of
you're
applause. Come
voting,
on.
know that you're building
Wow.
a strong foundation for this great nation. This is a nation of many races, different faces in many spaces. So when you're voting, know that you're building a strong foundation for this great nation. Tomorrow has come and the change has begun. Yes, we're moving. Yes, we're moving. Here we come. Hey, getting it done. So let me tell you one thing. It's big man thing we doing. The right thing that we choosing. We getting it done. Society we shaking. We go bust away the welling. It's up and up we going. We getting it done. Respecting who we serving. Lies is what they're spreading. Every time we beat them, it's country that we choosing. Bread is how we rolling. It's PNM we voting. We doing it right. We getting it done. We getting it done.
Make some noise, ladies and gentlemen, for the kids.
Together as one.
I think I'll be back a little later on when we get the technical difficulties sorted out. Thank you very much. Love you.
At the end of the rainbow. Vote for the PNM. I see the bright blue skies. Tomorrow has come and the change has begun. Yes, we're moving. Yes, we're moving. Here we come. Whoa. We getting it done.
Hey, hey, for the PNM. Hey, hey, for the
We getting it done.
Hey, hey, for the PNM. Hey, hey, for the
We getting it done.
Hey, hey, for the PNM. Hey, hey, for the
We getting it.
Well, the energy level was certainly at its highest as I've been watching the crowd, the young people raising the placards, supporting all the candidates, 139 candidates from around the country. A lot of young people traipsing through the crowd, a lot of young people being presented as candidates, a significant number of women being fielded by the PNM this year, and a lot of newcomers. And as somebody responsible for one of the areas in the country, the Chaguanas Borough, I could tell you the young people are very, very motivated, very energetic. I look forward to working with the ones in Chaguanas Borough Corporation. I look forward to working with the ones across the country. The 139, as we launch this campaign and we get ready to hit the road, to hit a high note in this business of getting it done for the country, Trinidad and Tobago.
Mr. Political Leader and Prime Minister, Sandy Grande Corporation will remain in the PNM after December the 2nd. The PNM is getting the job done with a new highway from Valencia to Toco. The PNM is getting the job done with a new hospital in Sandy Grande. The PNM is getting the job done with a new licensing office. The PNM is getting the job done with a new highway from Komoto to Manzalina. Ladies and gentlemen, let me present the 8 standard bearers for the Sandy Grande Regional Corporation. For Komoto Tamana, the young and vibrant Mr. Rajkumar Bagalu.
Cannot tell we nothing. Red is how we rolling. It's PNM we voting. We doing it
Mr.
right.
Robbie Lekan.
We getting it done. One good for country, good for party.
Sandy Grande Northeast. Councillor Paul Mongolas.
Voting, know that you're building a strong foundation for
Valencia West. Councillor Simon Gil Joseph.
So when you're voting, know that you're building a strong foundation
Mantalana
for this
Mission Fund. Mr. Nigel Seff.
and the change has begun. Yes, we're moving. Yes, we're moving. Here we
This councillor is celebrating his birthday. The councillor for Togo East Valencia celebrating his 16th birthday. Martin Terry Rondon.
Sweet Jesus, that's all I'm asking from you. Lord, give
Sandy Grande Northwest. Sandy Grande Northwest. Miss Councillor Elizabeth Wharton.
and I see the light.
Sandy Grande South. Mr. Neil Joseph.
And I see the bright blue.
Ladies and gentlemen, these are the future 8 councillors for the Sandy Grande Regional Corporation.
Change has begun. Yes, we're moving. Yes, we're moving. Here we come. Hey, getting it done. Well, let me tell you something. Forward this how
Thank
we
you
moving.
very much, Indar Parasram. Thank you very much, Team Sangre Grande. Anybody from Diego Martin to present to you your winning candidates for the Diego Martin Regional Corporation. Please welcome the Honorable Donna Cox.
And I see the bright blue skies. Tomorrow has come and the change has begun. Yes, we're moving. Yes, we're moving. Here we come.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Getting it done.
Diego Martin people, where are you?
This how we moving. So never stop believing.
I am here to present the winning team of Diego Martin Regional Corporation.
They only mama guy and we don't know there was teeth and they cannot tell.
Representing Chagaramas, Point Kumara, Akiria, Glasgow.
We doing it right, we getting it done. One good for country, good for party. Team Rowley, we're building legacy. So when you're voting, know that you're building a strong foundation.
As we continue to get it done, it is my pleasure to call Amber Kane, Glencoe, Godwood, La Puerta.
So when you're voting, know that you're building a strong foundation for this great nation. Tomorrow has come and the change has begun. Yes,
Representing
yes, we're moving.
Pity Valley, Cocorit, Marcia Marslin.
So let me tell you one thing, it's big man thing we doing, the right thing that we choosing. We getting it done. Society we shaking, we go bust away the welling, it's up and up we going.
I would like to now call on the dynamic Simon Denobrega, Bon Coco, Alice Glenn.
Choosing, red is how we rolling, PNM we voting, we doing it right, we getting it done. We getting
A
it
round of applause for the experienced Catherine Mendez, St. Lucian Cameron.
together as one, there is no load we cannot bear. And I
Representing Bellevue, Bossier, number 1, Wendell Jeffrey. A round of applause, please.
blue skies. Tomorrow has come and the change has begun.
Getting it done in Mocha, Bossier, number 2, is Andy Felician.
We getting it done. We getting it done. We getting it done.
And we have a wonderful cheering party here from Diego Martin. Representing Bagatelle Blue Basin, Alina Wren.
And I see the bright blue skies. Tomorrow has come and the change.
As we continue to get it done, a round of applause for Covine, Rich Plains, Representative Avenel Boyce.
Well, let me tell you something. Forward is how we moving, so never stop believing. We getting it done. A new country we building. This country first we choosing, and every day we proving.
And bringing up the rear is Miss Keita James, Diamond Vale.
Tell we nothing. Red is how we rolling. It's PNM we voting. We doing it right. We doing it right. We getting it done. One good for country, good for party. Team round.
It is my honor to present the winning team for Diego Martin Regional Corporation.
Nation. This is a nation of many races, different faces in many spaces. So when you're voting, know that you're building a strong foundation for this great nation. Tomorrow has come.
Thank you very much to our Minister of Communications, the Honourable Donna Cox. Thank you to the dynamic Diego Martin team. Ladies and gentlemen, we are taking back Superior. And to present your candidates for the Superior Regional Corporation, please welcome our Vice Chairman, Senator the Honourable Robert Lahunt.
And I see the bright blue skies. Tomorrow has come and the change has begun. Yes, we move.
PNM people, are you all right? I am going to present to you the 9 candidates that are going to bring the Superior Regional Corporation into the loving arms of the PNM. Representing Avocat San Francisco North, I want to bring on Miss Nikita Richards.
Yes, we moving. Here we come. Hey, getting it done. Well, let me tell you something. Forward is how we moving, so never stop believing.
Representing Superior East San Francisco South, let's bring on with a hearty round of applause, Miss Donnell Hall Alexander.
Red is how we rolling. It's PNM we voting. We doing it right. We doing it right. We getting it done.
Representing Palo Seco, I want you to raise your voices and acknowledge Miss Dana O'Neill Gervais.
This is a nation of many races, different faces in many spaces. So when you're voting, know that you're building a strong foundation for this.
Representing Superior West, Faizabad, the one, the only, our sitting councillor, Mr. Maurice Alexander.
So let me tell you one thing, it's big man thing we doing, the right thing that we choosing. We getting it done. Society we shaking, we go bust away the welling. It's up and up we going. We getting it.
Representing Otaheite Roselac, the big seat in this election, the man who is going to take this seat from the UNC, Mr. Anand Maharaj.
Done. We getting it done. In the fires of hope and prayer, together as one.
Representing Brighton Bethany, our sitting councillor for the area, Mr. Gerard Debisette.
Vote for the PNM and see the bright blue skies.
The man who has been making waves all the way down in Cedros, and the man who is going to bring Cedros home to us into the loving arms of the PNM, representing Cedros, Mr. Rashid Mohammed.
We getting it done.
Representing the area of Erin, our sitting councillor, and the lady who is going to be the next councillor for Erin, Eileen Ramdale.
Cannot bear. And I see the light at the end of the rainbow. And
representing Mondesi, a man who is going to bring this home for us in this area, Mr. Alan Pierre.
Yes, begun. Yes, we moving. Yes, we moving. Here we come.
People, PNM people, these are the people who are going to beat everyone in Sapphire Regional Corporation. In the north, in the south, in the east, and in the west. We're going to beat them in Sapphire. We're going to beat them in Sapphire. We're going to beat them in Sapphire.
We rolling. It's PNM, we voting. We're doing it right.
Thank you very much, Senator Lahunt. Thank you, Team Superior. And now we head to the east. Arima! 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 Let's welcome Miss Onika Haynes to present the candidates of the Arima Borough Corporation.
Tomorrow has come and the change has begun. Yes, we move.
Baila, baila. Aye. Mr. Chairman, I'm back again. If you try to cut me down, I will go back. If you try to keep me down, I will raise up. Just like the Balize. This time, Mr. Chairman, I'm here to introduce the candidates for the Royal Chartered Borough, the home of the first people, the home of Parang, party officers, party units, members of the media, protective services, PNM people. Make some noise. Candidates. Mr. Chairman, please permit me just 30 seconds to recognize a man, a distinguished doctor who is in our midst, a man who has stood the political test of time. He's currently the longest serving member of parliament, a leader, our political leader. The Begonians would say, are we boy? Our prime minister, our chief Balize bearer, the keen, the kosher, the kingly, Keith Christopher Rowley. A man who gets the job done. Yea, do I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of the UNC, and we will eat them in the east, we will eat them in the west, we will eat them in the north, we will eat them in the south. Today I stand before you proud, with pride, with purpose, with passion, as I present to Trinidad and Tobago the candidates who would be our Balize bearers from the Arima Borough Corporation. We now present the candidate for Calvary, Miss Janice Elizabeth Scott.
And I see the light at the end of the rainbow. And I see the bright blue skies.
Arima speaks the water from Ricardo Barat, from the first people, the Amerindians, to Calvary Hill. I now introduce the candidate for Arima Northeast, Mr. Kendall Charles.
A new country we building, this country first we choosing, and every day we proving.
From Santa Rosa RC Church to the Arima Kid, Hollywood Tourier, to Elvin Edwards, Eustace Nancis, Ashton Ford, Lisa Morris Jr. I now give to you the candidate for Arima West O'Mara, Mr. Anthony Davis.
A strong foundation. And I see the light at the end of the rainbow. And I see the bright blue sky.
From Rose Jenner to Larry Gomes to Hollis Avenue, put your X by the next PNM councillor for Arima Central, Miss Lovable Lisa Morris Julian.
So never stop believing. We getting it country first we choosing, and every day we proving.
From the crossings to Mera Industrial Estate to Tumpuna Square, I give to you our candidate for the electoral district of Malabar North, Lynette Shafi Ramcharan.
Good for party, Team Rowley, we're building legacy. So when you're voting, know that you're building.
From Kitchener the Grandmaster to Nettoville, put your PNM hands together as I now introduce the next candidate for Tumpuna, Mr. Brennan Patterson.
Has come and the change has begun. Yes, we're moving. Yes, we're moving.
From Jennifer Casa to Raymond Chukong to the Arima Velodrome, I give to you Miss Joycelyn Warren, the candidate for Malabar South.
Respecting who we serving, lies is what they're spreading. Every time we beat them, this country that we choosing. Bread is how we rolling.
We now present all our candidates and, might I say, councillors for the Arima Borough Corporation. Make some noise!
Together as one, there is no load we cannot bear. And I see the light at the end of the rainbow.
Mr. Chairman,
Vote for the
whether it be Paul Mitchell Street, Degan Street, Arima Government Secondary, Holy Cross College, Arima Government, Boys Government, Giuseppe Preparatory School, Anthony Garcia, put your voting finger in the air. I decree and I declare that we shall be victorious in the East.
Thank
We
you
shall
very
overcome
much,
in the
Miss
West.
Onika James. Let's hear it for
Praise
our
to the
candidates
PNM,
for the
and we
Arima
shall
Borough
prevail.
Corporation. And so we move from the Royal Chartered Borough to the capital city. All Port of Spain people, put your hands in the air and let's welcome the Member of Parliament for Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West, the Honorable Stuart Young.
Let me tell you something, forward is how we moving, so never stop believing. We getting it done. A new country we building, this country first we choosing, and every day we proving. We getting it done.
Grandstand from the heart of Port of Spain. Let me hear you say, PNM! As we come here, they save the best for last. This is the Port of Spain City Corporation winning team come December 2nd. Starting with the flyover, the walkover in Sealot, and then going west as we did the waterfront, the government campus, getting people in. The White Hall, the Red House will be finished. The President's House, as we rebuild, repopulate, revitalize, and make sure the energy of the capital city, Port of Spain, is well represented come December 2nd. Welcome, welcome to the grandstand in the center of Port of Spain. We have the youngest candidates. We have the most vibrant candidates. Let me hear you welcome Port of Spain City Corporation's next City Council. Starting with St. James East, we have Jamil Besnat.
At the end of the rainbow, and I see the bright blue skies.
Followed by Woodbrook, June, Durham.
Moving, yes we moving.
Let's hear it for Port of Spain.
Getting it done.
East Dry River, Clint, Batiste.
We getting it done. A new country we building, this country first we choosing, and every day we proving. We getting it.
Northern Port of Spain, the young, vibrant Abina Hartley.
It's PNM we voting, we doing it right. We doing it right. We getting it done.
Belmont East, another young lady, Nicole Young.
When you're voting, know that you're building a strong foundation for this great nation.
St. Anne's River North, your growing deputy mayor, the well-loved Helen
Know that you're
Owen.
building a strong foundation for this great nation.
Not to be left out, St. James West, Camille McDowell.
Yes, we're moving. Here we come. Hey, getting it done. So let me tell you.
Southern Port of Spain, none other than Dennis Bristol.
Shaking, big what's already welling. It's up and up, we going. We getting it done. Respecting who we serving.
St. Anne's River Central, Esther Sylvester.
Right, we getting it done. We getting it done. In the fires of hope and prayer.
And from Belmont South, Eva Camo.
I see the light at the end of the rainbow. 4:40 p.m. I see the bright.
Not to be left out, Belmont North and West, Malua Born.
And the change has begun. Yes, we're moving. Yes, we're moving. Here we come.
And last but not least, from the winning team for the Port of Spain City Corporation for St. Anne's River South, Janelle Frederick.
We getting it done. We getting it done.
And their P&M family, you have the next Port of Spain City Corporation young, vibrant candidates come December 2nd. We will lead the march to Balize House in Port of Spain as we say, great is the P&M, great is the P&M, great is the P&M, and we shall prevail.
There is no load we cannot bear. And I see the
Well done,
light
Port of Spain.
of the rainbow.
Thank you very much, Minister Young. Thank you to all of our candidates from the Port of Spain City Corporation.
And the change has begun. Yes, we're moving. Yes, we're moving. Here we come. Getting it done. Well, let me tell you something. Forward is how we moving. So never stop believing. We getting it done. And you country we build.
Well,
Wow.
we've seen the presentation of 139 candidates for the local government
139.
election. A mix of experience and some newcomers. We have Keso Hari Prasad, somebody who has been in the game a long time.
Terry
Martin
Rondon.
Terry Rondon, he's been around a very long time and across the constituencies. In Chaguanas Borough, Ronald Hira, he's going past 20 years now, but we have some brand new candidates, some newcomers, some people going for the second and third time now.
It means that the party is bringing all of that to the country, all of that experience and the freshness of youth, and that really is really important for the PNM.
Well, our candidates have been presented, 139 candidates. The PNM is ready for the road.
Ready
Tomorrow
for
is
the
nomination
road.
day, and we're going to get down to the business now of listening to the Prime Minister
Yes.
and wrapping up our convention and our presentation of candidates for 2019.
Wonderful.
चतरंगों का ये रस रंग को सुनाऊंगा मैं चतरंगों का ये रस रंग को सुनाऊंगा मैं Hey! Rajinder Jim Jim Jom Put your hands up so Rajinder Jim Jim Jom Chana na 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 chana na 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 चतुरंगों का ये रस रंग को सुनाऊंगा मैं चतुरंगों का ये रस रंग को सुनाओ सिंह राजेंद्र जीम जीम जोमा Put your hands in the air. Somebody say bye bye. Bye bye. Put your hands in the air. Anybody from Arima? Oh, Kavi Guni Tantalwajum. Shana na 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 na. Anybody from Grande? Anybody from Trinidad? Oh, Gawe kuni tantal majum, shana na 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 na. Chaturango kairas, ranga kosuna gawe. Chaturango kairas, ranga kos. Sing with me. Rajendra Jima Jima Joma. Hey, Rajendra Jima Jima Joma. This side, sing with me. Shana na 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 na, shana na 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 na. Chaturango kairas, ranga kosuna gawe. Chaturango kairas, ranga kosuna gawe. Rajendra Jima Jima Joma. If you love Trinidad and Tobago, put your hands in the air. If you love Dr. Kid Rowley, put your two hands in the air. Do so, do so, do so. Oh, Gawe Guni Tantal Wajum, Shana na 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 na. Anybody from Port and Spain? Love you all. Anybody can screw the ball? Do so. Turn up your hand, turn up your hand, turn up your hand. I want to see the middle section. Listen. Shake up your hand. Chana na 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 na. Go khale das rang ko sunao gawe. Rajendra Jima Jima Jo. If you love the PNM, somebody say yeah yeah. Hands up, hands up.
Well, Rishi Singh is having a tremendous response from the crowd. The crowd is becoming more and more excited. Very familiar with him. Rishi is from the constituency of Komoto Manzanilla, famous for the Babai Kamla Babai song, and of course very, very connected with the young people and PNM people in general and Trinidad and Tobago in general. So all of this is the build-up to the address by the Prime Minister.
Everybody sing with me. Rajendra Jima Jima Joma. Hey, Rajendra Jima Jima Joma. Boss lady, chana na 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 na, chana na 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 na. Chadrango kairas, ranga kosuna. Turn up your hand. Chadrango padanisa, gawe gis. Love you all. Rajendra Jima Jima Joma. Put your hands in the air. Put your hands up so. If you love Dr. Keith Rowley, put your hands up so. If you love the Honorable Rohan, put your hands in the air. Love you all.
Grandstand, make some noise for Rishi Singh. And we present to you now none other than Blocks. Please welcome Mr. Blocks.
Yo, are you ready? Could I see your hands in the air right now? We testing, we testing. Tune up, Mr. DJ. Them vampire coming, them sukuya coming. I see them, they coming. They coming, they coming.
You send opium man for me, but I'm still going strong. I pop come from Guyana to China.
Sing it out.
But I am blessed.
They send one red out for me. Things going on too long. Me try more like she too far. Me then and tell me son, but I. And at the end, you sing it out.
I am blessed. Too blessed, every day and many times.
Raise your hand when you're singing. They saying all kind of thing about me. Correct going too long. But every year I have been fun winding down in town. Cause I am blessed. Come and say anytime is a good time right now. My time to shine now. Anytime is a good time now. I feel it to take a wine cause it's anytime. It's a good time right now. My time to shine now. Anytime is a good time now. Look, they coming, they coming. Them vampire coming. Them sukuya coming. I see them, they coming. They coming, they coming. Them backbiters coming. All the haters coming. I see them, they coming. I work hard for everything you see. They can't take that from me. And I thank the Almighty for my sweet family. Cause I am blessed. Every time I reach in for the top, they try to pull me down. But that can never stop the works of the Father, Son. Cause I am blessed. Any day and any time is a good time right now. My time to shine now. Anytime is a good time now. I feel it to take a wine. Come and say anytime is a good time right now. My time to shine now. Anytime is a good time now. So they're coming, they're coming, they're coming, they're coming. Look, them blacks, they're coming. All the haters coming. Them vampire coming. Them sukuya coming. I see them, they're coming. Love you. Should I leave now? Only one more. Well, if only voting PNM, which I know everybody here is doing, put your two hands in the air. Tune. Whoa. Are you come in? Come in. Here we go. Yes. When you went on here, you went on here. To mash up the place. To mash up the place. Should be hard. Everybody. The people that's sitting in front, you're allowed to raise your hands too. The people that's sitting in front, sir, you're allowed to raise your hand. Shoot up! Whoa! Are you coming? Come here! Get back! Yes! When you went on here, you went on here. To mash up the place, to mash up the place. Show me your hand! To mash up the place. Spread your hands and let go. Spread your hand in the air. Everybody spread your hands and let go. In the air. Whoa! Gonna be do it, gonna be do it, gonna be do it again. Gonna be move it, gonna be move it, gonna be move it again. Gonna be jump and spread out the hand and put like the man in the air. Throw your chest away, let me do it again. Gonna be move it again, gonna be move it. Mash up, jump and mash up the place and make the air too big. On time, we hustle on the grind. We working 9 to 5, trying to stay alive. From Monday and Tuesday, it's the time to break way. Morning time, spread your hands and let go. Spread your hand in the air, everybody. Spread your hands and let go. In the air, sing with me, everybody know.
Well, I've seen him trying to make his way through the crowd for a long time. The Honorable Attorney General Faris Al-Rawi, I think you have hugged and kissed half of the crowd. But what are your views? What is happening? How you feel?
Well, this is an electric and vibrant crowd. 49 years, ladies and gentlemen, of PNM organization in accounting to the people of our country as to what we got done. Today, you're going to hear the political leaders speak to crime, its management, suppression, the economy, and other people talk about getting a chance at the wheel. We will be able to demonstrate today that we are the only government that put together comprehensive plans. Clarence, you sit with me in the Parliament. This is the leader of our Legislative Review Committee, and we can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of our tenure, we will be the only government to have opened 70 courts, 70 courts, when you take the individual courts in our tenure. Whilst others talk about the DPP needing resources, we are the government that has opened the DPP's office in Tobago. The DPP's office in San Fernando is being built. The DPP's office in Port of Spain is at the cusp of delivery. We are the government who is able to acquit ourselves in saying we have a public defenders division. Next month, when you get tickets in the mail and we see the effect on the criminal justice system and we remove 104,000 cases out of 146,000 cases, you begin to see that you have magistrates to pay attention to the suppression of crime. But the big news for me is the addition of white-collar crime management by laws being added, by procedures being added. A very simple combination: people, processes, plant and machinery, and law. So today is a day for accounting. Some people might ask, what took you so long to account? The fact is that you have to prepare. We've had a tough economy, but we're able to say what we got done. And this is why this convention is so exciting and why our launch of candidates is such a beautiful occasion.
AJ, we had a big response for the candidates from San Fernando. That is your hometown, that is your home constituency. We have Teresa Lynch returning. We have Nigam Joseph now becoming a veteran in San Fernando, and we have some other stalwarts in San Fernando. How you feel about the campaign in San Fernando and what you expect out of the candidates you've presented for San Fernando?
San Fernando is an interesting cosmopolitan mix of events. And what we have going on in San Fernando is a team of veterans returning. Remember, San Fernando was delayed, much like the rest of the country, by the UNC's opposition to local government reform. Fortunately, that legislation is there. They fought down and nail the contributions for local government taxation, which the corporations could use to better our country. We are now in a position to do that. We've got 10 anchor projects in San Fernando. For the first time, able to describe what the real waterfront looks like. The Nidco car park, the fishing port facilities, Skinner Park, the Chancery Lane development by the Anglican Church, 231 houses at the Ministry of Works Webs area. And then when we look to what's happening at our version of 1 Woodbrook Place, the PTSE bus yard move, some of these things are things that have never been done before. So San Fernando is in a serious state of development. We're very pleased to see the projects launch. These are not hypothetical projects. These are projects that have been approved, have been started, and are moving. So
well,
San
AG,
Fernando is in there.
Your two big projects must be this redevelopment of Skinner Park and the waterfront project. I know the waterfront project is tied to the future development of the Marabella train line. How are those projects going?
Well, the Marabella train line has had a significant input. We've done a housing village improvement program, giving over 30 homes to that area in a very regular and organized sense. We have, of course, my co-host is the Minister with responsibility for lands, and I know that you have a significant project going. So the key aspects of development in San Fernando are well in tow, and I think that our veteran crew have a great chance at managing this.
What else have you been saying to the candidates in San Fernando? How important is winning the borough back?
It's important in terms of a continuation of vision. And in getting that vision managed properly, I think it is important to return people.
Sorry.
So the key aspects are the management of veteran politicians under a sensible management and reporting how we get these projects done and moved ahead.
What are you looking forward from our Prime Minister this afternoon?
I'm looking forward to his report to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. His report is a very sincere one that I think that many of the politicos and many of the analysts are looking forward to. You can't have a slogan of getting it done and not report on what you got done. So I ask population to pay attention, look at what's happening on the center stage with Dr. Rowley this afternoon, and to take us forward into that zone.
And on the issue of crime, Tuesday is an important day in the Senate. We meet at 10 o'clock to do yet another amendment to the bail bill, the bail amendment number 2 bill. How important is that piece of legislation?
The bail amendment bill that we're doing is specifically to remove the access to bail for the offenses of trafficking in firearms. We amended the Firearms Act after we had done the first version of the bail amendments. So this is where we actually get the production moving ahead, right? adding on layer by layer, as we did on Friday in the Parliament when we treated with
very
law
important piece of
enforcement,
legislation.
protecting law enforcement, giving the society a role to discharge, and getting ourselves properly in this management. So I think that the Prime Minister's speech this afternoon will speak to some of those events as well.
And let me put you on the spot. We've talked a lot about cannabis. Recently, we dealt with the issue of ecstasy and some of the other dangerous drugs. But what can you say to the population in relation to cannabis is something that people are interested in?
I spent much of this morning finalizing the final positions on that law. That law will be taken to Cabinet hopefully during the course of this week, where we can treat with how we manage the offense of dangerous drugs, marijuana itself, its importation, its management, expunging records, because there are people that have offenses for very small quantities. They need to be out of the system. A simple thing like decriminalizing marijuana results in a 76% drop in the forensics workload, and that is to give space and time for the more serious matters. So it's very good, very progressive law. I ask you to stay tuned and pay attention to the process as we move ahead in the next week or so in center staging that particular reform.
Well, Attorney General, this convention and the presentation of candidates has been a lot of music, a lot of vibes, a lot of young people. What are your impressions of the crowd? I've seen a lot of young people having a good time. It's a good sign for the People's National Movement. You think you and I are about to transition and usher the way for some young people? Or you still think we have some life in our bodies?
I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, as you see me dripping with sweat, it's because there's so many people here. Literally, it is chock-a-block. The weather has not kept back the crowd. It's humid, obviously. It's filled with vibe and energy. The only party that seems to be losing veterans is the UNC. I think that's a coded message to say that they are fed up of the politics of the UNC. To me, there is no alternative. To me, this is a signal message to the country that if veterans of the type of the UNC of Fuad Khan and Suraj Rambachan and perhaps Ganga Singh can't stomach it anymore, you got to pay attention and ask yourself, what are your options? Is a good option a party that has been able to hold an annual convention 49 times in its history? Is a good option 10,000 plus people that have turned up for a day like today, even though there's been inclement weather? Is a good option a party that is able to tell you how it got it done in difficult circumstances? We believe that as we unveil the work products across Trinidad and Tobago's platform in the next couple of weeks and months, that we will give a good account of our stewardship and signal hope to this country in the message of allowing the work to continue. We can get it done.
Well, Honorable Attorney General, a lot of young people may not know that you made your entrance into PNM politics in the country. In this city, as an alderman, you have since transitioned to Member of Parliament and Attorney General. What would you say to the young people entering local government in 2019, given your experience as an alderman in the city?
It was a great pleasure to serve at the Municipal Corporation, to give functionality as an alderman for the city of Port of Spain. That allowed me to cross the divide between San Fernando and Port of Spain. Local government is where delivery happens. Local government has not happened because we have not had the money in local government. Our local government legislation and our property tax reform to reduce taxes, let me repeat that, to reduce taxes from 9% to 3%, that is how we get the money into local government, so that we have true cause and effect. You can't deliver services to our country unless you are proximate to the issues, and local government is the best place to do it. I encourage people to participate and to support the reforms that are happening in our country.
Now there's another election in 2020. I have already declared my hand. I've been approved as a candidate for Chaguanas East. What's happening in the life of Faris Al Rawi as we head into 2020?
If I could take off my shirt right now, you'd see San Fernando West tattooed across my chest. That is my homeland. That is the place that I love. Those are my 10 anchor projects. That's where everything that I've managed in the portfolio as Attorney General gets to bring into life. San Fernando West is my hometown, it's my city, it's my love. I'm pleased to always represent it, should my constituency agree, and should the political leader and the screening committee allow.
So we expect you to be screened for San Fernando West in 2020.
If I had my way, I'd be screened in 2 minutes flat and work my way through and return to the energy and effort. I'm there every week, 3 times a week if I can, working in small community groups, getting the management of our structures. It's a joy to represent such a beautiful cosmopolitan place of distinguished pride like San Fernando.
Very good, very good answer, very bold answer. And a lot of young people, of course, have been coming to the screening so far. A lot of young people maybe are in your seat. A lot of young people maybe are in your seat. What would you say to young people who have an interest in contesting the general elections for the People's National Movement in 2020? Are you going to be encouraging them, discouraging them, saying stay out of politics? It is very invasive. You have a lot of questions to answer. You have a lot of problems on social media. What would you say to young people who are preparing themselves to face a screening?
All right, quickly as we go to a quick break, I'll say jump in, bring on the competition. This is our country. Own it. You can only own it if you participate in the process. This country is a beautiful country. We have to be committed to our goals. I know we're going shortly to a break, so I just tell you, enjoy the atmosphere.
Thank you.
Our break is across the stage, and we'll be taking our cameras across to see some of the action of what's happening. Enjoy today's performance and catch you on the flip side.
And now our Lady Vice Chairman will introduce our political leader.
Ladies and gentlemen, allow me the privilege to introduce a man of value, a man of substance, a competent, morally conscious leader, an authentic leader, a performer who has a vision for Trinidad and Tobago, a man with a political track record that speaks far louder than words. His track record points us to a statesman who is a champion of democracy in politics. Over just 4 years, he has healed a nation racked by corruption and chaos. PNM people, this political leader, this Prime Minister stands on the shoulders of Dr. Eric Williams. He stands on the shoulders of Mr. George Michael Chambers. He stands on the shoulders of Patrick Mervyn Augustus Manning. He is our political leader, but he is the Prime Minister of all of Trinidad and Tobago. This is a man who consistently tells us we must look at the right-thinking citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, and we must understand that there are more right-thinking citizens than citizens who think otherwise. He has told us that It is with great faith and confidence in our nation's future that I ask you to join in welcoming this man of integrity, man who has no purpose. This man has led this country steadfastly over the last 4 years. This man who we call our political leader. This man who has shown what is morally right. This man who continues to lead us out of the morass that the last government left us in. Ladies and gentlemen, with boundless faith in our destiny, join me in welcoming Keith Christopher Rowley, the political leader of the PNM, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the man who will lead us to victory on December 2nd. Ladies and gentlemen, Keith Rowley is a leader whom you can trust. Keith Rowley continues to be a man in whom we have faith. Keith Rowley continues to be a leader whom we know we can look to for what is right. Keith Rowley is the only person who can lead Trinidad and Tobago at this time. Keith Christopher Rowley is the only person who can ensure that Trinidad and Tobago moves steadfastly to the best country that it has ever been. Ladies and gentlemen, we have seen that under the vision of Keith Rowley, we are getting it done in Trinidad and Tobago. Under the vision of Keith Rowley, the White House has been refurbished and is being used. Under the vision of Keith Rowley, the Red House is being refurbished and the Parliament will soon return to its rightful place. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming the 7th Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the man who is leading us to the best that Trinidad and Tobago can be. Ladies and gentlemen, our political leader, our Prime Minister, our leader who will ensure that the PNM continues to be great and shall prevail. Keith Christopher Rowley.
Who we serving, lies is what they're spreading. Every time we beat them, it's country that we choosing. Red is how we rolling, PNM we voting. We doing it right, we getting it done. We getting it done in the fires of hope and prayer. Together as one, there is no load we cannot bear. And I see the light at the end of the rainbow. Fought for the PNM, I see the bright blue skies. Tomorrow has come and the change has begun. Yes, we're moving.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. PNM. Grandstand, Queen's Park, Savannah. I can hear you. I can't hear you in Cuba. Party chairman, Mr. Colin Imbert, our vice chairman, Senator Robert Leon, our lady vice chairman, Mrs. Camille Robinson Regis, our deputy political leaders, led by Mrs. Joan Yule Williams, and our campaign manager, Senator Rohan Sinanan, Party General Secretary, Mr. Foster Cummins, other party officers, party members,
party officers at all levels, our specially invited guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, children, fellow citizens all across Trinidad and Tobago, and those of you who are following us abroad. We are assembled here at the Queen's Park, Savannah, and the many thousands of you at home and at other locations abroad paying attention to the business of Trinidad and Tobago. This is the gathering of the widest cross-section of our nation's people at this, our 49th annual convention. It is with a sense of pride and satisfaction that I welcome you all, you the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I want to welcome the party officers at every level, delegates and members of what I believe to be the most important political institution in our nation's history, the People's National Movement. As a movement, we were the architects of independence, as well as every major step that was forward-thinking in Trinidad and Tobago. We introduced the Republican Constitution, the industrialization of Trinidad and Tobago, which includes the movement to a gas-based economy and the world-class downstream sector, the establishment and growth of the financial sector from NCB to FCB to the unit trust, and the localized insurance sector. We have encouraged and nurtured a society that is tolerant, peaceful, diverse, and stable. We are the party of Dr. Eric Eustace Williams, George Michael Chambers, and Patrick Augustus Mervyn Manning. The PNM's political structure and party group system is the gold standard that has been replicated throughout the Caribbean and has even been adopted by our political opponents here at home. Proudly, the People's National Movement is the only political party to have offered representation in every seat, in every single election held since our formation in 1956. This movement, your party, is the only true national political movement of the people of these beautiful islands. Yes, great is the PNM. That is our bold rallying cry. Great is the PNM because it is true. We are great because patriots like you know that the PNM will do what is right, what is good for the country, and that will be good for the party. It is you who have stayed true to the ideals of what this country was founded on. It was in gatherings like this that Dr. Williams presented the dream of a post-colonial society. He sowed the seeds of modern Trinidad and Tobago, free from colonial rule and mental shackles. These seeds fell on good soil in your heads, in your homes, and in your communities. Every one of us is the fruit ripened from the tree that burst from the shell 63 years ago and drove deep roots into our political soil. It was in gatherings like this that our ambitions, our confidence, and our aspirations grew. It was in meetings and conventions like this that for over 6 decades that we nurtured the belief that steering our own ship, forging our own destiny, and taking responsibility for ourselves was not just a better path, but the only path we as a people can and will accept. When the People's National Movement was founded, We adopted a constitution that states, and I quote, "The PNM is a political organization pledged to the maintenance of the rule of law, founded upon democratic principles, basic human rights and dignity, and dedicated to the raising of the moral and material standards of all the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, and the promotion of their progress in all fields, be it political, economic, social, moral, or cultural." These were our aims. These remain our objectives. We have documented among the stated goals, 1, the development of an educated democracy, participating actively in the conduct of public affairs by the promotion of political education and practical training. 2, the provision of social security for all. 3, equality of opportunity for all and a career open to talent. 4, the integration of many racial and cultural threads which have contributed to the development of our cosmopolitan society. 5, the elimination of all forms of discrimination in public life. 6, raising the level of economic productivity of the people by planned and rational development of the country's resources, both human and physical. We of the PNM, we had a constitution as well as boundless faith in our national aspirations long before the country itself had a constitution. The PNM shaped the DNA of the living, breathing body politic of Trinidad and Tobago. We run in its blood, and its blood runs in our veins. This is what we are. Listen to the values and ideas we of the PNM were born into. It is our proudest and richest inheritance from our founding father. Dr. Williams, on January 24, 1956, in his People's Charter, had this to say to us and to all this nation. We, as a nation, as a party, are no ordinary people. Nor are we an ordinary party in the accepted, narrow sense of the word. Not then, not now. We are rather a rally, a convention of all for all, a mobilization of all the forces in the community, cutting across race, religion, class, and color, with emphasis on united action by all of the people in the common cause, unquote. As it was in the beginning, so it is now, and shall always be. The foundation of the PNM is to put service to country before itself. It is the binary force that keeps us growing and our roots deepening with every passing hour. The PNM has now grown into an unshakable tree, 63 years of age, towering over the political landscape, and which, in the face of a storm, may bend but will never break. It is a shelter and safe space for every citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, because you here in front of me know that what we do in this amazing organization is about love. We do it because we love our country. We are here because we love our party and because we love one another and are committed to building a better future for all our nation's children. This PNM, for 3 generations, has been the most progressive force in the improvement in the lives of every citizen. The PNM is great because our love for country is great. The PNM is great because that love makes us strong. The PNM is great because in your defense, we are fearless and strong. When we say great is the PNM, it's about the power and strength of loving our country. When we say great is the PNM, it is because we do what is right for every citizen of every color, creed, race, and religion. And that is why we will always prevail and why Trinidad and Tobago will always succeed. I want to say that doing what is right in life, as in government, is always the more difficult path on many occasions. Doing what is right requires discipline and sacrifice. It may not be popular in the short term, but in the longer term, we will all reap the benefits of our correct decisions. Sometimes standing up for principles and values will ruffle feathers and cause some anxious moments, especially at those times when we are confronted by powers larger than ourselves. But as a society, we have prevailed over numerous moments like that since our independence. We in the PNM have a long history of standing by our principles. We possess a collective ideology that drives many of our policies, one of which is our foreign policy. I realize that the PNM has a vibrant and growing number of young people, many of whom I see here today, and there are many more thousands following us at home and on their social media contacts. Permit me to share a few moments in our history which would contextualize one of our recent positions and why we were so forward, vocal, and active in the position we took on the prospect of an armed invasion 7 miles away from our shores. And let me just put that in geographical context. Venezuela is 7 miles from where we are gathered here today at the Queen's Park, Savannah. You see, ladies and gentlemen, we in the PNM have been speaking our mind and defending our principles ever since we were formed. Dr. Eric Williams contended in the early years that the imperial powers have enjoyed tremendous benefits from the resources and sweat of the colonized and returned little to us. When he led the country to independence, the British government would give former colonies what they regarded as a golden handshake, which Dr. Williams rejected because he was insulted by the paltry sum and chose not to have it. We as a country, loudly with CARICOM, opposed the US invasion of Grenada, Nicaragua, and most recently, Venezuela. We stood against apartheid for decades and have been calling for an end to the embargo against Cuba. We also were in the forefront of recognizing the One China policy, a position that was arrived at by the rest of the world many years after the PNM and Trinidad and Tobago. Why did we? Why did we hold these positions? Did we have a dragon gas deal with Grenada in 1983? Or with Cuba in the 1960s? Or with South Africa? Or with Namibia? Or with China? No. We did it because we are guided by the United Nations Charter and subscribe as a people to the fundamental principles contained therein. Not because they are convenient or expedient, but because as an independent nation, we believe they are right. As a member of this global fraternity, Trinidad and Tobago is in good company. As most nations in the world, embrace those principles in the articles to be universally true. In 1962, when we joined the world as a newly independent nation, we believed then, as we do now, that the principles contained in the UN Charter were aligned with our own aspirations for all the people of the world, including our very own country. Ladies and gentlemen, the UN Charter Article 2 says to the organization and to its members that all shall operate in accordance with these principles. It says, firstly, that the organization, which is the UN, is based on the principle of the sovereign equality of all its members. Do you agree that all members are equal in the face of the United Nations Charter? It goes on to say, all members shall settle their international disputes by peaceful means in such a manner that international peace and security and justice are not endangered. Do you agree? It also says that all members shall refrain in their international relations from the threat or use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any state or in any manner which is inconsistent with the purpose of the United Nations. Do we still agree with that? In Article 4 it says, and this is where non-intervention and non-interference originated. I, Chief Rowley, did not invent those terms or suddenly decide to be in our position to use them. It is an article in the Charter that we as a people have been holding fast to since 1962 because we believe in them and we continue to subscribe to them. On this very Venezuelan matter, this government and CARICOM, in every single action, in every single phone call we made, in every single letter we wrote or meeting that we convened, we were holding to the principles of the United Nations Charter. The principle that says peace, not war. That says sovereignty, not imperialism or threats or violent coercion. To the principle of dialogue and compromise. We hold fast to the principle of being a good neighbor. We are standing up for those principles, and while we were doing our best to be an agent of peace, of dialogue, and independence and sovereignty, there were those in our national space who were shouting and screaming and doing their worst to misinform, undermine, and disown these principles that I have just mentioned. If we stand back from it and cast our minds to these moments, it is amazing how far those voices sunk in their conversation into emotion about how Trinidad and Tobago abandoned Venezuela and that I was protecting a dictator, all because of a dragon gas deal. How insulting to Trinidad and Tobago. Think about the hours of TV and print time that they dedicated to pushing that opposition narrative and the outrageous statements of the opposition in Parliament, where in one fell swoop they abandoned all the principles of the Charter as well as our long-held positions and our commitment to that UN Charter. Let me put here on record that our only wish for Venezuela is peace, stability, and prosperity for its people. I wish for them to find that within the construct of sovereignty, internal peace, and the UN Charter, they may see a brighter day ahead. We wish for the people, especially the children of Venezuela, what we wish for ourselves and our children: a life with dignity, fulfillment, and self-determination. I thought it's important to take you, the younger ones among us, through this, to show you that when you are part of the PNM, that our roots run deep, and that our principles are grounded in the universal values and rules of a global society. As a nation, we have been speaking our truth since the 60s to the colonial masters and to all whom we come into contact with. Those that know our history, those that know the PNM, would easily understand our position on this matter. Ladies and gentlemen, we protect our very own interests as a small, defenseless state, but staunchly and consistently supporting the principles of rules-based diplomacy. I say this now. This is who we are. This is what we do. These are the values we defend. Now you can reflect on the position of your party and your government versus that of the UNC. Our actions held true to our roots and are guided by an established foreign policy and not cheap and shallow politically expedient meanderings of those without historical pedigree. Those who try to ignore the existence of these principles are doomed to failure. This country, our country, is small in comparison to Venezuela, where there's a population of 33 million, or the United States of 330 million, or Mumbai, a city in India with 12 million people, or Caracas with approximately 3 million people. We are a small national family of just 1.3 million, where every single life is precious to us. We cannot afford to lose one single life to murder or to illness. It's only us. Nobody is going to come to our rescue. We need to take care of ourselves. There is no big brother or sister to come to our aid. The only ones we can count on are our people who sit next to us in the maxis and the taxis, in the churches, the temples, and the mosques. We are all in this together. That is the reality. We have to work as one to realize the best version of the society we want and can have. I want to tell you today, it is possible, and that we are all in this together. In a population as small but as talented as ours, to purposefully exclude talent, professionals, and leadership that may not vote how we vote would be to sabotage our own progress and give way to the defeatist crab-in-a-barrel syndrome. In a new society, we must harness the full progressive force of all the people at all times. Once they hold to the idea that the collective progress of our society is important above all else. Once they are willing to serve, and they are the best position to serve the collective good, our biases must give way to making the right and best choices for our society. There has always been a vision of only one whole, one country, one people, and that we must always work together. To do otherwise would be to work at any point on only one part of our potential. The only way forward is if we work together, firing on all cylinders for the common good, using the best we have among us. It is the only way we can move together and build this new society. I am sure that you have heard for decades calls ad nauseum from every quarter that we, as a society, must take a bipartisan approach on major issues and appointments that impact the society as a whole. Under this administration, we have done more than that. We have appointed a former UNC MP as the chairman of state-owned National Petroleum, a former chairman of the NAR as the chairman of TSTT. We retained the chairman of FCB, who was first appointed by the UNC and who was also the Attorney General under the NAR. We appointed Winston Gypsy Peters, a former UNC minister, as the chairman of the National Carnival Commission. We also appointed Captain Gary Griffith, a former minister under another party, as our commissioner of police. In each and every case, they are all eminently accomplished and qualified, having served loyally and faithfully before. Every day, we in the PNM welcome patriotic citizens into our ranks, those who wish to serve this country. Our principles are sound, our hands are clean, our doors are open. Welcome to the People's National Movement. Harnessing our full potential is the only true path to the new society. And in this party, we're getting the job done. On the issue of realizing our fullest potential, would not have been better if we had managed to have a Sanders project in Tobago under construction as we speak, and we were poised to become the latest Caribbean destination? Would the society have been better served if we did not restructure Petrotrin and stop the hemorrhage that was threatening the fortune of every man, woman, and child in this nation? Would we have been better off with $15 billion of taxpayer money left in private hands as an unacknowledged debt at CLICO, as against recovering the assets and creating a national investment fund, which we called NIF, and being open to the widest public participation and ownership? Should we have opened and successfully negotiated with major international interests operating in our energy sector in our search for a better deal for the people of Trinidad and Tobago? Should we have gone to court, as we successfully did, to recover almost $1 billion from OAS, the bankrupt contractor who abandoned the San Fernando to Point Fortin highway after the UNC, merely days before the last general election, removed a specific clause from the contract to allow the contractor to run away and keep for themselves $921 million in bonds, which they were holding for the taxpayers of Trinidad and Tobago? Should we have sought and obtained Australian government help and financing for our 2 fast ferries currently under construction for the inter-island route, as well as the 2 border patrol vessels for our Coast Guard? Do you think that we are in a better position now than before? Do you remember the opposition to the government in each and every one of these major issues? We are the government that put the country first and the handling of Petrotrin, but the opposition we got from some quarters, who at that time did the only thing they know how to do, which is to fight against progress of the common good for the advancement of their own myopic and corrupt political agenda, without acknowledging or recognizing the potential of the shift that was taking place in our national history. Ladies and gentlemen, after years of inaction and months of puerile criticism, the opposition has finally put forward its alternative plan for the Petrotrin problem. We are now being advised that instead of closing the whole refinery operations, we should have maintained it, if only to provide fuel for the local market to prevent importation. That means that we should operate this refinery to produce 25,000 barrels per day, because that is the size of our local market, as against its capacity of 140,000 barrels per day. According to them, that would have dealt with the foreign debt financing crisis at the company, and the resultant uneconomic cost per gallon was of no consequence to them. Imagine, if you will, a Trinidad and Tobago in which a trade union such as the OWTU, moving from being a strident and militant organization constantly fighting against the government of the day for its survival, to an organization that meaningfully takes a place at the commanding heights of the productive economy. This would represent a seismic shift towards a new society. We in the PNM started thinking and talking about the encouragement of an employee stock ownership program in the old Petrotrin. The imperative of restructuring took us way beyond that, towards the possibility of full ownership and serious capital investment by a union which is prepared to lift its gaze from the next negotiation, the next 3-year agreement, and back pay to the international marketplace where better returns could be had. It was a vision we had for our brothers and sisters in the state oil sector, even during the most contentious moments before and after the restructuring of Petrotrin. You will recall that during that process, in an address to the nation, I raised publicly the prospect of the OWTU having access to operate the plant, with the possibility of having the first option to purchase the refinery. This was stridently and publicly dismissed before cooler heads prevailed. We at that time, however, seemed to have had more confidence in them than even they had in themselves. We recognize our role as government to provide the opportunity, a space of hope and vision for the OWTU as an organization to move forward from worker representative to owner by enfranchising them as a commercial operator and taking up their role in this new society. This is what we can achieve when we look at each other. These things are possible. Forces that pull against each other, if only to pull together, can move mountains and put this country in places we would never have thought possible. And that is the real Trinidad and Tobago that we are after. Ladies and gentlemen, while we were working to provide an opportunity for this shift, there are people so mired in their own self-interest, they stood in the way of bold and proud steps towards building this new society. But because we in the PNM hold true to our oath of office, we govern without malice, without favor, and without ill will. We govern with boundless faith in our destiny. The challenges and differences of opinion that played out in the public domain have not denied the OWTU the very real opportunity to make the transformation from labor union to refinery owner. Even when, as Prime Minister, I was personally attacked, racially profiled, and called an Oreo by the hapless losing lady, and a burnt breadfruit by marchers, and accused of an agenda to sell Petrotrin to the privileged 1% in my constituency. we still treated everyone with respect. And we maintain faith in the decency embodied in the vast majority of our decent, right-thinking citizens. Even in those low moments, I, as your leader of this great political party, stood above the personal attacks of the hateful and useless opposition. We proceeded to act in the best interest of the country and the union members, and today they have an opportunity to operate a refinery. That is the possibility of the new society. If that is the legacy of the People's National Movement, working with the OWTU, can you imagine what we as a people can accomplish if we were to all work together for the common good? If Patriotic, that company, reignites the flames at the Guaracara Point-of-Pay refinery, it will serve as a beacon of all what is possible for every citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. As a final part of that narrative of Petrotrin, you would hear even now on the restructuring of Petrotrin the usual chorus of the unpatriotic that do not believe in the indomitable greatness of our people when we work together. They are the selfish few who benefit the most by fracturing us along fault lines of race and politics for their own narrow self-interest. They will not offer you a scintilla of hope. All they are good for is to spread hate, racism, slander, fake news, and perpetual obstruction. They are the people that want to convince you that our country is a failed state, that Trinidad is not a real place. I want to deal with this pernicious issue at two levels. The first is to tell you unequivocally that nothing and notwithstanding our many very serious challenges which demand care and attention, we are anything but a failed state. The facts and figures depicting the reality of the collective experience that surrounds us will tell us and others just who we are. We are a proud little nation, striving manfully to make our way in a very hostile world. Incidentally, the grating irony of this unkind label is coming from those elites who suck the most from what this little country has to offer, whilst consistently underperforming in their social contributions. As citizens, we are proud of a nation that has been struggling with an economy in search of growth since 2009. However, we continue to provide free, universal health care to every man, woman, and child. We continue to have free education from early childhood through to university. We continue to have one of the widest social safety nets in the Caribbean. We have an active national housing program. We own and successfully operate an international airline. We provide an efficient air and sea bridge between our two majestic islands where 3 vessels go back and forth every day. Our democratic systems continue to function seamlessly through free and fair elections. Our parliament is about to begin to return to its cherished home at the Red House, a place that has been abandoned for many years. We have an independent and functioning judiciary, a stable banking and insurance sector, an established manufacturing sector, and an ever-improving police service. Our economy continues to successfully operate in the international marketplace of oil production, natural gas, fertilizer, and other high-value downstream exports. Our young people in their thousands confidently populate our 3 universities, UWI, UTT, and USC, as well as COSTAT and other centers of learning. Their efforts there and their way, that's their way of saying to all who wish to hear that they have confidence that there is a future in this society for this country, and they have opportunities in that future. Unemployment currently stands at under 4%, the lowest in the English-speaking Caribbean. Our inflation rate is 1%. We have a stable exchange rate. Notwithstanding our difficulties, we have 8 months of foreign exchange cover and an economy and energy sector that has returned to growth under the People's National Movement. This is a country where this PNM government engaged the $23 billion CL financial crisis, recovered and returned the assets to you, the people, in a sound and safe investment program for the benefits of all our citizens. We continue to enjoy unfettered freedom of expression, freedom of the press, and freedom of movement and assembly. We continue to enjoy unfettered freedom of worship. We have managed to steer our population away from a pathway towards a brutal IMF adjustment program, which would always involve deep cuts in the public service, the social security programs, and household subsidies such as electricity, water, and post-secondary education. The burdens of these adjustments would have been placed on the shoulders of those who are least able to bear such burdens. We increased taxes on the commercial banks and introduced a higher tax bracket for millionaires as we gave substantial relief to those at the base of the earning scale. And yet, only today, our largest bank has reported increased profits. This government and party opted to lead this economy through an internal adjustment program that brought stability in a financial crisis while balancing financial necessity with compassion and competence. We chose to determine our own fate. We chose to administer our own medicine, and our energy sector and economy have both returned to growth without having voices from outside our borders dictating to us what we should do and what we shouldn't do. We never promised you an escape from our realities. We never promised you an existence free of any pain. We promised to help you to try and cope with a very challenging environment of many bills and fewer dollars. We promised that we will make you do more with less. We promise you that we will systematically develop the long-abandoned eastern half of our country, from Toko to Sangre Grande, to Manzanilla, to Mayaro, to Moruga. That work is currently underway. We are getting the job done. We are to reject the notion of the few amongst us who don't see themselves as any part of our solutions, but who just regale us constantly with their bile and their cynicism. Without a healthy dose of optimism, some people may never even get out of bed in the morning. We in the PNM, we understand that independence is not just a day to be celebrated. Independence is a state of mind. Independence is a tool to be used every day to forge that destiny that we speak of. Trinidad and Tobago, especially in this period of difficulty, is a proud nation with real people facing real issues that require real leadership, and that is what this PNM is here to deliver. The second issue I want to address is the level of service and the ease of doing business within the state of Trinidad and Tobago. As with anywhere else in the world, there are areas where we can and must improve. We must, however, acknowledge that there is a sense of disappointment shared by many of our citizens with the manner in which the public service is delivered. I understand only too well the broadly held sentiment that some state agencies are not working for you and that they do their best to frustrate rather than facilitate. Why should it take hours or days to pay a bill to the state? Why is it that cashiers still close at 2 o'clock in some states? Why should you in 2019 have to always go to a government office to pay for a service? Why can't it be done in one space, online, in an e-wallet, so you can have more time to spend with your family, your friends, or your business? You should not have to take a day off to do business with the state. Why should we have a case in court that takes over 10 years to be concluded? How could it take more than a year to get approvals to build a house, and a year if you're lucky? How do we do business with the state? And it affects what we think as possible. And this colors the confidence we have in the state's agencies to manage our affairs. The problem we really have is we do not believe it can be changed. What about electronic payments to the court? Certified copies online. Online certificates of ownership. Unnecessary forms at the airport to be dismissed. Dismiss the requirement for proof of life for senior citizens. Poor service is not okay, and the state should not unreasonably stand in the way of people who want to progress. It seems like the easiest thing to do in some of these agencies is to tell people no. The fact is that if the people of this country are tired of poor service, all they need to do is to go to work tomorrow and demand as well as deliver the service that they themselves would want to receive. This could change in a day if we all decide to serve people as we would like to be served. That is how doable this is. How many people have experienced the anxiety of walking into a government office for the second or third time, needing a document, a certificate, or a service? And this is sensitive for them. It's urgent for them, only to be met with the unnecessary, lengthy delays for simple things you require to get to advance your affairs. We need to understand, in a society as small as ours, we must facilitate each other because we are all we have. It is time to realize that every time we interrupt or delay a brother or sister trying to take steps forward, you are not only keeping them back, but you are keeping you and your family back, and by extension, our entire society. In this too, we are all in this together. Our new society must have a clean, uncorrupted, efficient, professional, compassionate, and productive public service. One that we must trust as a positive force in our life and our society. A public service that sees itself as an incubator, an urgent facilitator of our society's progress that is delivered one yes at a time. This is doable, and we must embark upon it. We are a society that can get this done. This is one of the foundations of that new society of which I speak. A culture of yes is a space of possibilities. For decades, we have seen a society that couldn't cleanse itself of systemic corruption and white-collar crime. We had resigned ourselves to believing the corrupt cannot be brought to justice, that there were two standards within our society. One, where the corrupt could afford lawyers to escape prosecution and extradition, buy governments to change laws for themselves, buy themselves freedom, buy themselves loopholes to evade jail and the consequences of their crimes. This was a society that watched on powerlessly as a ravenous kleptocracy which fueled off billions of dollars of our children's future into the pockets of contractors, businessmen, and sundry shysters who facilitated kickbacks and money laundering activities that ranged between duffel bags and buried plastic barrels full of cash to complicated offshore accounts where they bounce your money around. The only action we had available at that time was to vote them out at the end of that crime spree. Corruption, white-collar crime, and violent crime cannot be a comfortable part of any new society. We must have one set of laws for all, big and small. We now have those laws. We call them taking the profit out of crime. For decades, Trinidad and Tobago has been fighting the scourge of crime without appearing to ever be gaining the advantage over the criminals. Ladies and gentlemen, our government believes that the problem in the fight was a failure to diagnose and focus on the need to address the various elements of the crime-fighting machinery as a whole. This resulted in duplication of effort, with each part of the system complaining about under-resourcing as the reason for the failure of their part of the system. Our government, in getting it done, conducted manpower, system, and resource analyses across the entire criminal justice system. We applied a simple but profound system of reform which involves simultaneously improving plant and machinery, personnel, processes, and law. This approach, simple as it sounds, has never been applied by any government before. Couple this with a genuine effort to go after white-collar crime, and you will discern what is happening in your interest. We are able to report today that we have got the following things done. We have completed manpower and systems analyses. We have appointed a substantive commissioner of police. We have created specialist units in the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force, and all our intelligence agencies to focus on crime and criminality, especially white-collar and murderous crime. We have created divisions of court. We now have family and children division and a separate criminal division. We have computerized the judiciary at all levels. We have hired hundreds of employees across the units, the court system, and support services to operationalize the units and divisions which are presently in actual operation. We have increased the number of judges by 70%. We have operationalized the criminal proceedings rules. We have operationalized criminal case management, and we have increased the number of masters from 2 to 14, and we are adding 10 more. We have passed laws to remove bottlenecks in the criminal justice system. We have approved the move of all civil courts from the Hall of Justice in Port of Spain to Tower D on the waterfront. as soon as Parliament moves out in January. This will provide 60 hearing rooms for criminal trials at the Hall of Justice, massively expanding the number of courtrooms for the dispensing of criminal matters. We have expanded the criminal courts by opening one in Tobago. We have introduced electronic systems for the judiciary for payment and court filings and court transmissions. We have approved the construction of new magistrate courts in San Fernando, Rio Claro, Faizabad, and we are close to the end of the planning process for such courts in Pinal and Arima. We have filled vacancies in the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution, and we have secured new offices for the DPP in Port of Spain and San Fernando, and we have only recently opened a DPP office in Tobago. We have launched an innovative public defender system so that criminal court matters cannot stagnate for years because my lawyer not ready, my lawyer not here. Under those circumstances, a competent one will be provided for you, but the trial must go on. We have passed a suite of laws that tackle hard crimes, including Anti-Gang Act, Anti-Terrorism Act, Firearms Act, and Bail Restriction Act. And that's just to name a few. It is our focus on white-collar crime and the mission of taking the profit out of crime that has been the essential difference in our government's fight against crime. No other government has so aggressively pursued strangling criminality by going behind the money that feeds it. We have done what I've just said. We've done more. We have established a motor vehicle and road traffic new age. We are digitizing all motor vehicle and license information to establish a red light camera enforcement system. This will see new license plate systems in place. You will see us tagging motor vehicles to assist law enforcement in the investigation of crime involving a motor vehicle, as well as illegal manufacture of license plates. We are going to be implementing very soon spot speed camera enforcement system to enforce speed limits, to save lives, and to reduce insurance claims. With respect to the Registrar General's office, we have digitized millions of deeds through an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding between the government and the University of the West Indies. We have launched an electronic registration and electronic filing system for better security and storage of land data. We have launched 3 critical IT registries for all the data at the Registrar General Department. This will be available for all of law enforcement, and the public aspects of the registry will be available in a fully online environment. Property business and real estate systems are to change too. This will allow for the complete integration of every aspect of property information, ownership, vending, purchasing, and real estate interests and transactions. This will allow for absolute title guarantee whilst removing fraud and delays from the system. This system will be fully operational by February 2020 and will allow for electronic filings and payments. With respect to legislation in this area, whilst dealing with the data management and digitization, we developed and passed legislation to identify, locate, and seize the proceeds of crime. We have already done the following. We have done the registration of titles to deeds. This provides for the establishment of a new land registry. We have made the amendment to the Land Adjudication Act 2018 to provide for the adjudication of rights and interests in land. We have done the Land Tribunal Act, which provides for appeals against decisions of the adjudication officer and the land registrar. Within the next month, we'll be laying in the Parliament the miscellaneous provisions which will affect the Registrar General, registration of deeds, conveyancing, and the law of property, real property, stamp duty, and registration of title deeds. And this will address fraudulent land dealings, the making of provisions for transparency in respect of legal arrangements and beneficial ownership. The Real Estate Agents Bill is on its way there, and this would establish a legal and regulatory framework for the registration of interests in real property. This bill will regulate the real estate industry and make transactions transparent, as well as track the disclosure that should be made to avoid money laundering and fraud. With respect to businesses and companies, we have completed the Companies Amendment Act 2019, and this closes the gaps in the companies regime to disclose transparency in share ownership. We have completed the Tax Information Exchange Agreement, United States of America, 2017, and this provides for the exchange of taxpayer information for foreign accounts. The Income Tax Amendment Act 2018 has been completed. This expands the access to taxpayer information from the Board of Inland Revenue to the Financial Intelligence Unit and law enforcement for the investigation of and the prosecution of white-collar crimes. We are completing the Global Forum package. We have completed the Civil Asset Recovery and Management and Unexplained Wealth Act. We have completed the Mutual Legal Assistance in Criminal Matters Regulations, Legal Notice 1 of 2019. We have completed work on the miscellaneous provisions for mutual assistance in criminal matters, proceeds of crime, customs and exchange control will benefit from this. We will be completing in the following few months the bills to be enacted to create the Trinidad and Tobago Revenue Authority. We will also be laying and completing in the Parliament campaign finance reform and the companion legislation expected to be operationalized to deal with public procurement. We have gone past legislation with respect to public procurement. We are now awaiting the execution of that by way of the operationalization now that the regulations have been completed. We also, in the next few months, expect to table in the Parliament and complete the Gambling, Gaming and Betting Control Bill to better regulate the gambling industry. Many entities are currently operating without even being registered. We have also completely expect amendments to the law to better regulate the insurance industry, as well as finalization of all regulations for this industry. With respect to hard and violent crime, what you call blood crimes, we have completed the Bail Amendment Bill 2019, the Anti-Gang Act 2018, and together these are expected to discourage membership of criminal gangs and the suppression of criminal gang activity. It includes white-collar crime offenses and gang activities. We also strengthened the Trespass Act relating to home invasion and introduces offenses relating to forceful eviction of occupation of premises. Ladies and gentlemen, we have put in place the Miscellaneous Provisions Bill to have trial by judge only. We have done the amendment for the Evidence Bill 2019, which provides for special measures and closed-circuit television work to be used as evidence. And we are on our way to establishing and completing a private security industry bill, which seeks to regulate the thousands of private security officers in Trinidad and Tobago to widen the law enforcement and eyes everywhere. This is in the Joint Select Committee of the Parliament. The Cybercrime Bill is also in a Joint Select Committee of the Parliament. And we are also to bring to the Parliament in short order a Domestic Violence Amendment Bill which would provide stronger protection for victims of domestic violence abuse and intimate partner violence, including the children and the elderly in care that may become victim of abuse. It is your PNM government that will give this new society the ability to cleanse and protect itself from the corrupt among us. We have passed new laws for our society that will empower the police and all the investigative branches of government to pursue towards the ends of the earth monies stolen from the public purse with Factor and Global Forum. The corrupt will now have to explain to the police and tax authorities their sudden wealth. And if they can't, the state will be authorized by due process of law to seize the unexplained wealth. We have passed laws that will restrict bail for repeat offenders of violent crimes. We have amended the Firearms, the Bail Amendment and Anti-Gang Act, not only imposing the stiffest penalties by any government on those that choose to turn a gun on law-abiding citizens, but we have also empowered through the same legislation, the protective services with the tools with which to investigate and prosecute those who prey upon the innocent. We have seen the possibilities of this society unfolding with the recent prosecution of those who held high office and those who were previously thought to be unreachable. See them face the brunt of these new laws, and with a re-energized police service and a powerful and independent investigative branch, the long arm of the law will reach them wherever they may be. Ladies and gentlemen, what we are seeing is the beginning of a new reality, one where we can have confidence, where all our citizens will be protected, one where the laws will apply regardless of social or economic standing or political affiliation. No one is above the law. We are now all equal in this society, and those laws that have been recently passed and are already reshaping our expectations is telling us and showing us what is possible. The UNC opposed every single one of these laws, every step of the way. And what you as citizens have to ask yourself is that simple little word, why? While we were managing this economy into stability and growth, they were misinforming the population, spreading fake news, and sowing discord, hatred, and division. The previous government spent us into bankruptcy, squandering our children's money, trying to buy themselves a second term. They took expectations to the point beyond reality and sustainability. And if we did not do the same, they want us to be seen as heartless, uncaring, and incompetent. That is their campaign. That is their program. They, the students of Cambridge Analytica. It takes more care and discipline to be responsible with your money. When a government cares more about their own political future than they do about the people they serve, then they can promise anything and everything. Then the chaos comes. That is your choice between our party and the others. They are on one side. We are on the other side. And for those who believe that we are all the same, let me from this podium tell you today, we on this side, we of this PNM, we the Red and Ready, we the Red Brigade, We, Eric Williams' party, the People's National Movement, we on this side represent progress and good order. Those on the other side represent corruption, chaos, and collapse. Ladies and gentlemen, your best choice has always been and continues to be the People's National Movement. A government that is building a sustainable and healthy prosperity. Not the UNC who will spend every dollar we earn and borrow 3 times to waste and embezzle, then stick you and your family with the bill. The slowdown that you have felt, the adjustments that you have had to make in your homes, is you, all your friends, all your family, is all of we having to pay for that after they've done what they have done. Ladies and gentlemen, the short, sorry tenure of profligacy and outright thievery and recklessness made a major contribution to putting us in the difficulty that we are in today. And they could jump high, they could jump low. Those are the facts. There are many that feel politics does not concern them, that their voices do not matter, or that all the parties are the same. There is no statement that could be further from the truth. The difference is as different as the colors of the rainbow. The rainbow contains violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, red. We are red. We are different. We are the People's National Movement. We're not yellow, we're not blue, we're not green, we're not violet, we're not indigo. We are red. Ladies and gentlemen, the consequences of not selecting the best government for your society will impact all and have far-reaching and long-lasting consequences. The generations in Trinidad and Tobago of all races, all colors, all creeds and classes do not have the luxury of apathy. It is the generations that are coming up that will be robbed if we don't make the difficult decisions today. It is you that will spend the rest of your life struggling to pay back the debts of a kleptocratic and selfish government. Hard times are temporary, but we are moving in the right direction. We are getting it done. The recession is receding. Growth is returning. The worst is almost over. Our best days are ahead of us. A new society is being built on sustainable prosperity for all. There is no place in this society for the belief that your voice doesn't matter and we cannot succeed. Ladies and gentlemen, the new society must move people to recognizing opportunities and giving them the tools to succeed. Individual responsibility must be at the center of these collective ideas. It is how we see ourselves in relation to the improvement of our own fortune that will determine the realization of our best selves. And the state is there to facilitate you in a new space with great possibilities. It's all possible. We must be gentle and inspiring at times, but sometimes there's a role for tough love. The issue at its roots in this country, at every level, is discipline. Without discipline, there's no production. Without production, there's no prosperity. And without prosperity, there is no progress. It's important to recognize the moment, ladies and gentlemen, as a society and frame it in our history. It is important to recognize when we have to evolve. We live in a world where half the society remembers writing letters and licking stamps, then waiting 2 or 3 weeks for a reply. They remember a world with typewriters, telephone booths, encyclopedias, and telex machines. We have seen technology catapult communication from telex machines to to fax machines, to desktops, to laptops, and now smartphones give us instant connectivity to people halfway around the world and are more powerful than a room full of mainframe computers. Today, we have a generation whose idea of success is very different to ours. It is measured by clicks, likes, and innovative online businesses. My 4-year-old grandson, Lucas, will never know a fax machine, typewriter, rotary phone, or the sound of dial-up internet. Before he could speak, he could already navigate to see his favorite video on his grandmother's phone. We are a society in rapid transition. It is already new. Your children, for better or worse, are growing up in a very different world to see the one that we grew up in as ancient and impossible. What we must do is build a space in which both generations can work together to multiply opportunities and build a stronger society at a pace required to stay globally competitive. We have so much to offer the world if we work together as one society, and there's no challenge that we cannot overcome. At our birth in 1962, the mighty Sparrow encouraged us to tell the world there's a model nation at last. We must not let him down by underachieving. We are the people of Trinidad and Tobago. We live together as one in a way that doesn't happen anywhere else in the world. In this country, Christians light theirs in their homes for Diwali, and you can find Christmas trees in the homes of our Muslim and Hindu brothers and sisters. And we all share a meal together for Eid. In this country, we have a mosque that sits opposite a Catholic church, and they both open their car parks for each other during services, multiplying their space instead of dividing it. We are a country where, when the floods came in 2018, it was met with an outpouring of generosity and love that united us in the common cause of relief for our fellow citizens who were displaced. At the root of our national identity is an abiding love for each other, our country, and our respective cultures. It is this love that is at the center of our Twin Islands civilization and would fuel the shaping of a new society. We can do this. We have done it before, facing greater uncertainties and fewer resources. We have done this together. We have built a society based on tolerance and love. We can become more united culturally and in every other way. We have woven a social tapestry that I believe is the richest in the world. We have the potential for greatness, but to realize it, we must begin to change now. Local government elections are upon us, resting easy on the PNM's mind. You would have seen all our candidates today. You would have seen the optimism in their faces, representing Trinidad and Tobago in every seat, everywhere. This is an event which our non-believing political opponents were so sure would never come, that they called press conferences to announce their own vision that local government would not be called. That is just a teeny-weeny little example of their absolute lack of trust in our nation and its general business. Today, at this, our 49th annual convention, we presented to you here and to the wider national community 139 candidates, one for every electoral seat in Trinidad. Some are experienced, others are new, but outstandingly keen to serve you. They come to you whenever you are, in every village, in every town, in every city in Trinidad. They do not come as over-ambitious individuals. but as standard bearers representing this great party, which is dedicated to continuing our proud tradition of responsibility and service to all the people of Trinidad and Tobago, regardless of where you might reside. I ask you to support them, to join them, to influence our local government reform initiatives, because there too, we are getting the job done. We will overcome each and every hurdle they place in our way, because we are committed to getting it done. As a people, if we look at this country and what we can do together, the eyes of possibility are ours. And through those eyes, we will realize that the only thing that can constrain us is ourselves. It is time to think about what we want and what we want to see in this new society that the PNM has already begun to build. We are doing it right, and we are getting it done. Great is the PNM because we have always been the party of possibility. Great is the PNM because we have always been the party of progress. Great is the PNM because we have always been the party of vision. Great is the PNM because we have always been the party of Dr. Eric Eustace Williams. Great is the PNM because we are the party of George Chambers. Great is the PNM because we are the party that produced Patrick Manning. Great is the PNM because we have always been the party with love for country. Great is the PNM because we will build that new society. Great is the PNM because we will always stand up for and defend Trinidad and Tobago. And on that day, when we would have realized elements of our dream of a new society, we will say with one voice, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, and we shall prevail.
Wow. Clarence,
Another
what a strong,
delivery.
inspirational message from our political leader, Dr. Rowley.
Well, it takes us straight into nomination day tomorrow, the next PNM public meeting in San Fernando, and 4 basic themes: truth and optimism, tough love, progress, individual responsibility, covering all the key areas and setting it out. It has not been an easy climb for the party and for the country coming out of 2015, and Dr. Rowley has outlined the way forward for us, and I think the country is now looking forward to the campaign of the PNM to hear more from all the ministers, from our leader, and from, of course, the candidates in their communities.
Certainly, it's such a message of positivity, and you saw the crowd response. You know, it wasn't a message of negativity and fighting. And as the Prime Minister said, the local government elections come back is resting easy on the minds of the PNM. We are not afraid or worried in the PNM. Being the only party to field a candidate in every single district for the local government.
The voting population has a decision to make. The PM has outlined the context. A lot of us will be on the platforms across the country, building on what he has said. And most importantly, he spoke on the truth. He talked about individual responsibility, what we need to take on as individuals, how the country can progress if we take on that sense of responsibility. And we go now to Foster Cummins, the General Secretary, as he wraps up the day's event.
Okay, let's go stateside.
And Deputy Political Leader, Legislative, the Rastaman, Fitzgerald Hines. Ladies and gentlemen, great is the PNM, and we shall prevail.
And so we have it, folks. The new Deputy Political Leader Legislative of the People's National Movement, the long-serving, the hard-working, Mr. Fitzgerald Hines.
Of course, one of our more experienced colleagues. He served in both houses, in the Senate and in the House. He's serving in the House now. Congratulations to Fitzgerald Hines. Well deserved, and we look forward to having our new Deputy Political Leader on with us.
Most certainly, I'm sure the constituency of Laventille West is most excited at this turn of events, and it is something we have been looking forward to seeing what's going to happen. And so we are very, very pleased to know that we now have our new deputy political leader.
Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. It is only the PNM that can have such a massive crowd at any rally or convention in Trinidad and Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you are anxious to know our numbers. Let me just say to you that we had a small competition in place number 3 with the highest number of persons, the 3rd highest number of persons, the constituency of Aruka Maloney. I will have to ask the chairman to give it because the 3rd prize is supposed to be given by the lady vice chairman. But she's also from Aruka Maloney, so I'll ask the chairman to give that prize. Give them a round of applause. In 2nd place will somebody from the constituency of Laventille, East Morva. Please come, the second highest number of persons to attend. Somebody from Laventille, East Morva. The MP for Laventille, East Morva. And to receive the political leaders trophy for the highest number of persons at our convention here 2019, the constituency from the east, coming from the east, Toko Sandy Grande. Could somebody from Toko Sandy Grande please come forward? Make some noise for Toko Sandy Grande. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to give you the report of the attendance at this convention. The massive attendance here today, General Council, 175. Delegates, 750. Observer, let me give guests first. Guests, 850. Observers, a massive 16,875. Our total attendance at this convention, 18,750 registered attendees at this convention, not counting those who did not register. Say, great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM, and we shall prevail.
Well, we've come to the end of our convention, our 49th annual convention, but we still have one more thing to do. So to all of you who are here, I believe it's really 20,000, Foster. I feel I have some more people didn't register. But 18,750 people, that has to be a world record for a political party convention. So for all of you who came, all of you who are watching us on television and wishing you were here, we send you warm PNM greetings from the grandstand of the Queen's Park, SAVANNAH. As you can see, this is no ordinary party. We in the PNM do extraordinary things. We are the only people who can do it. We have the best candidates to lead the reform in local government. We have the best candidates to represent you and your families. We are the best party. I now invite all 139 PNM candidates onto the stage. Let's see our 139 winners. Come on the stage. Let's see your beautiful candidates. And I also want to see all officers, especially our new deputy political leader, Rastaman. I want to see all executive members of the movement on the stage. These candidates will make the difference. They are building a foundation for our future. They will be coming to you in your villages, in your streets, in your neighborhoods, to meet you, to greet you, to spread the message of the People's National Movement. It has been my privilege to chair this convention as your chairman. Where are our candidates? Come on, all 139. Gather around. I'm not sure about that trophy. I feel I had some racket there, Rohan. Come on, all 139. You all can fit. Come on, come forward. Don't worry, come forward. Come on. Let everybody see you. That come out of left field, boy. Great is the PNM. And the PNM is great. Come on, candidates. There are so many of you. You go do it in Come on the stage. Don't be bashful. Come forward. Make room.
So we see on the stage, all 139 of our candidates assembled. How does it make you feel as a PNM member, Clarence?
Well, the thing that really struck me is that one of the furthest constituencies in the PNM, Toko Sangre Grande, has been able to mobilize the most people to come to the convention, and that is PNM style.
And St. He's at 500, that's what I mean, it was at 1,000.
Some of us who are closer to Port of Spain have not been able to do as well. But that is the PNM style, and very nice to see the candidates. What people may not know is, apart from the convention and the presentation, a lot of meetings are going on in the hospitality boxes, a lot of side events the candidates are preparing for tomorrow for nomination day. So they're going to make the trek back onto the stage, and it has been an excellent day for them, and it is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity presenting itself from tomorrow. We've been through that, Nayan. We understand what they will go through. Both of us may be going through that in 2020, so I am excited for them. I know they're excited, and the party is here to support them as much as we could do over the next 21 days.
So, great is the PNM. We're getting it done, and so we're going to take in the excitement on the stage as we say goodbye, and this will be the end of our coverage, and we thank you so much for following us on this show, and we look forward to seeing you on December the 2nd as we vote the PNM into office in the local government elections. Great is the PNM.
Is anybody here from the PNM? Put your hand in the air now, Jason. Let me tell you something. It's like must be moving. Never stop believing. We getting it done. A new country we building. This country must be choosing. And every day we proving. We getting it done. They only mama guiding. We don't know they was keeping. Yes, no. PNM people, put your hand in the air. Hand in the air. For country, good for party, team round in the building legacy. So when you're voting, know that you're building a strong foundation for this great nation. This is a nation of many races, different faces in many cities. So when you're voting, know that you're building
everybody put your 14th finger in the air right now. Put your 14th finger in the air. Show me your 14th finger. One time, Shaq, one time. Say.
We're getting it done in the fires of hope and prayer. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Together as one, there is no load we cannot bear. And I see the light at the end of the rain.
Vote for the PNM. Whoa. Show me your 14th finger, PNM people. Cause tomorrow has come. And we voted PNM on December 2nd. Who you voted for? Great is the PNM. Whoa. Jump, 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 jump. I want to see everybody do something in your something to wave. Something to wave. Everybody now. Get something to wave. Get something to wave. Get something to wave. Get something to wave. One, you're waving. Two, you're waving. One, two. When everybody now we come, wave your body, say it. Wave your body, say it. Wave your body, say it. Everybody say it. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. Now look, I want everybody to sing this with me. I want to see everybody put their right hand in the air. Because you see on December 2nd, we must make no mistake about this. Please put your right hands in the air and wave it left to side. And if you know it so far, I want to hear you singing, right? Come on, let me sing. Listen.
We're getting it done in the fires of hope and prayer. Yeah, together as one, there is no load we cannot bear.
Sing now.
And I see the light at the end of the rainbow. And I see the bright blue skies.
'Cause tomorrow will come and the change has begun. Yes, we voted. We voted PNM forever. Everybody after me. Say great is the PNM. Say great is the PNM. Say great is the PNM. And we will always prevail. So on December 2nd, vote for the PNM. Ladies and gentlemen, you see right now, I think it's entertainment time, right? Please help me welcome on stage my good friend. Anybody here Trinity the Moon? Make some noise to the one, the only Benji.
There's so much powers I can't explain. Until that golden day when the Father take me away, all of my friends will say, I'm phenomenal. I'm phenomenal.
You're phenomenal.
I'm phenomenal.
You're phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
You're phenomenal. Sing me that. So
phenomenal. You're phenomenal now. We're phenomenal. You're phenomenal. PNM phenomenal. We're phenomenal. Oh, you're phenomenal. You're phenomenal. Simmernaminal, 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 bang, 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 I'm telling you, I'm telling you, na, na, na. About the incident red, na, na, na. And we coming out to be red, white, and black. We don't care what nobody say. Every carnival we done there. But we know that it's an on. Them say, Savannah. Where we from? I know the crowd for God. When me and them was there, cause the love what you need us look, and the love what you need us go, and the light I hear you need talk, and if me and them let us walk, where you from? I come from. Cause the love what you need us look. And the love what you need us go. And the light I hear you need talk. And the me and them that can walk. We coming out to be red. Me and them, we don't care what nobody say. Every carnival we have. Plus we know all that is and all. Them say, me and them, where you from? Me and them. Oh, cause the love what you need us look. And the love what you need us go.
Yeah! PNM people on the field, we done? Alright, anybody ready to go home? Right, say yes! It's a vote on December 2nd. But beyond that, you see right now, right here, we're going another time. Make some noise for my good friends from the air team!
PNM,
don't see color.
We don't see color.
We see strength.
We see strength.
We see power. We don't see red.
We don't see red.
And the mountain being a
cause even if we fall out, brethren we go. We will never keep our money and fall and crawl out from everywhere. We ready to fire our friend in somebody. I'm moving around when we come in. When we come in. When we come in. We mash up, we like a hot. Everybody. Jumping up together. Jumping up together. Mashing up together. Mashing up together. Rubbing up together. Whoa. Yo. Wait. I want to see everybody rock like this. Before the band.
Everybody lean your body, rock, rock, rock. Lean your body, lean your body, lean your body.
Yes.
Lean your body, lean your body, lean your body, lean your body. And jump. When we roll and roll.
Hey, but anyway. I'm moving around.
We mash up, we like a hot.
But everybody jumping up together, mashing up together, rubbing up together,
We don't see color, we see strength, we see power, we don't see red.
We don't see red.
We're one another. We're people.
Well, even if we fall out, brethren, we go all out. We will never put our money in the fall and crawl out from everywhere. We ready to ride out. Well, you know this tune already. All you know this tune already. So when I